Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So, I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Oh, okay, well, I did hear you make noise back there, so good for you.
He's really holding himself back here. It takes a lot of willpower not to ask. Obviously, he's been wanting to know what's behind the door.
Okay, what is back there? Ha! I knew it. I've always wondered where those machines by the door came from. And they told me there was some kind of pinball thing here too. I knew it. Were there any back there? In working order, I mean. No, I was just wondering if you found pinball machines there. Capitalist plot. The pinball we have in the corner now is broken. I want to diversify the entertainment options. It wouldn't hurt to get a little life in here. Other than the hellish karaoke machine. That one's always causing trouble.
Sounds like he cares about the place. He's not going to be overjoyed to hear that it's part of the doomed commercial area. He should still know. You have to be forewarned about these things.
What? Why would you say that? We're at a completely different address from that whole thing.
So he knows of the doomed commercial area and its address. He's thought about this.
Everyone knows of it. I've been working here for a long time, and that intercom has never been used by the Whirling. It's a sign of the Whirling in Rags not being part of the doomed commercial area. If anything, we're revitalizing this neighborhood.
Relax, Mr. Gart. I'm sure there is no doom. He simply wants to share his discoveries with you.
Does this look like part of a doomed commercial area? This pre-revolutionary tilework? These high ceilings? The nice rooms? Well, most of the rooms. For 14 years, man. That's how long I've worked here. I've kept this place up through hail and through sleet. Fuck me, if some doom ghost...
He's done a fine job too. Though he's spoken of the place dismissively before, the hostel is actually very important to him.
Yeah, it's slowly growing on me again. It's beautiful in its own way, especially for this neighborhood. I've been trying to keep it that way, even if it is part of the damn doomed commercial area. Yes, your police skills have delivered. I'm sure you'll get a commendation, maybe even a promotion. Some real estate management company. They never come around here, just collect money from afar. Honestly, I think some money laundering might be involved.
There is an acrimonious note. It's clear he's doing the real work around here.
Well, it sure as hell wasn't the real estate company.
It was you?
You look surprised. What? It's a great name, I know. Cafeteria managers come up with great names too. It's from a song. Hail, Holy Queen, by the Ateniers. Hail, Holy Queen of the Sea. You're whirling in rags, you're vast and you're sad.
Good pick.
What about them? One is a basement dive frequented by chain-smoking communists. I can't tell you how sick I am of Kraz Mazov and Ignis Nielsen and all those old ghosts.
He's hesitating, not sure if he should share this information with you. Encourage him.
The other is a kebab cart. It's very successful in its way, but it's nothing like the whirling. Whatever. Was there anything else? Because I need to think about how I'm going to get those pinballs in here. What wall? I'll have it fixed at once. Thank you for letting me know. I assure you, the whirling does not abide spying on its guests.
The color has drained from his face. What a shame to fix such a good peephole.
Thank you. I'll patch it up personally. Yes?
man, the lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not turn this into some kind of circus. What do you see? What do you see? I don't know. They're about the same size. Not the same boots, no, but they could be the same person. No, these prints are pretty standard. The ones in the dust looked custom. Or maybe they're just a foreign design. It's...
The man, the lieutenant, adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs, the genitals.
Do you think...
You can't shake the feeling that there are more secrets concealed in the flesh before you.
Okay, well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to conduct another examination, and we need to do it fast. Hey, wasn't there a giant ice bear sarcophagus below that building?
Why, yes, there was. It was massive, red eyes glowing in the dark.
Now, that's an overstatement. It's not actually for storing cadavers, or at least I hope so. I think we should take a look at it first. Make sure it's big enough before we carry him over. Let's move. With every hour, whatever we are looking for in the deceased will become harder to find.
Fuck, does Kuno care? Kuno...
The bear's eyes are dead and empty. Ice inside the fridge.
It's certainly an eccentric choice, but it's more than big enough and cold enough. Honestly, it's perfect. All we have to do is plug the fridge back in.
Only the black cable is plugged into the breaker box, while the red one lies a giant electric mammal.
Great. The owners of this building will just have to keep paying for the electricity sucked up by this monstrosity a little longer. Let's return to the fridge.
The man, the lieutenant, adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. The bear's eyes are still glowing red.
Of course. I'll take the head, you take the feet. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but we'll manage.
The two of you. Easily. The body is heavier than you expected and stinkier. It takes half an hour to get it down to the basement. Then 10 more minutes to stuff it into the fridge. The lieutenant takes a step back to admire your handiwork.
Beautiful. A dead body in a nice bare fridge. This is some of the best police work I've ever done.
You've definitely earned a drink after this. Perhaps even some pagan rites.
I knew you would say that. I knew this would lead to drinking. No, no more. This is paganistic enough, and it does not lead...
He means it. He doesn't want to be the ice bear cop.
If I were an artist, this would certainly not be my vision. I would be much, much more conservative in my work. At least we've stopped the body from decomposing further. Now you can conduct another inspection under controlled circumstances.
Inside the icy realm of the ice bear fridge, the corpse stands slumped, waiting.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. I like it a lot, brother. This really is your finest hour. You're a genius. A regular Corporal Angelo. Oh yes, Cobo mi Lobo. In the gift horse's mouth. Tracts and wakes and waterways. Ancient materials buried. Just a small gulp away, my beloved Kobo. A small gulp away. Come back later, Kobo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead flesh through the latex glove. It's right under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent, all around. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. You're on the right track. The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even through the latex. From the soft meat, teeth are budding, hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate. You see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Keep going.
A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. The funk soul brother at the back of his head has gone dark forever. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. The undulations of the limbic system have ended. All is quiet. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Ice-cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush. There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it. From the inside, the object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here. Can you get to it?
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just...
Good.
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower. A blossom made of lead.
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre. Rifled. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. No, you deserve it. We can log it later. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We can now fill in injury number 3. Ligament mark. Opinion non-fatal. Post-mortem. Treatment.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
Yes, and the belt around his neck, the hanging, even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. Dead. I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought. There was no satisfying explanation. There have been other signs too, small things. We were right not to assign hanging as cause of death, as the perpetrators expected we would. No such luck for them.
We didn't fall for it, he thinks. There's pride in there.
Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier. To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here? Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case. Tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
The word lingers in the air of the basement. Far away, ice cream makers are buzzing, and the sea wind blows outside. Detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks, and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
The bear's eyes are...
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not turn this into some kind of circus.
The bear's eyes are still glowing red.
All right.
There go.
I will need a little help carrying him.
just an ordinary wall.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Glad to have been of assistance. The little... You're back. Good. More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead.
What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air.
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And it's...
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough. There is a term of endearment they coined for it. In the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included. Elysium. It does. There are those who would call it hell. A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petro-fascists. Oh, you want a picture of the world? There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit. Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways. We used to think it was a sphere, but that is beginning to look less and less likely by the day. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s.
ORG, Occident Revachol Grad.
There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three scientific contributors, they're piecing together a dark grey corona. Yes. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are grey flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago.
A cold fear seeps into you.
They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swathes of land disrupted by nothingness. I am sorry, dear. It must sound quite terrifying through the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here. But this is one of the greatest questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound. I don't know about things of that scale. My expertise lies in nations and trade routes, one or several layers below everything. But yes, we'll be fine. Don't worry.
She does not seem convinced that you'll be fine. If anything, she's realizing how deep your condition runs.
You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it. See? Everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities.
The cold seeps into you. The air is heavy with 80% humidity. Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there, on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides.
The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality. It is the opposite of reality. Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass. Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7. Mundi, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde. An oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear. Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness. No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer. An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist. Cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism. A mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
You hear your pulse rise. The air feels caustic and cold suddenly.
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension. right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible. Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged. Extensively. Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past. It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entreprenetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories. Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says. That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
Up to my gills, officer. Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain. There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years. Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later. Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely. Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping. What do you think, Detective? Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open.
One and all. They say pale as death, but for the universe.
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything? Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale? You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then... I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile...
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
You have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time. Glad to have been of assistance.
woman is still hunched.
Huh? What is it? What do you want? And what is that? Oh, meu Deus. The lawman solved the case. And here I was, thinking you were an idiot. So, are you? An idiot, I mean? Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Segúreme, Paraíso. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even the things I never knew. The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot, in the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation, on the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest, my hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocent Dolores Day. Heroic doses, Hervé. Heroic. Thought insertion? Dithering? The Grad Catalan Magistral? It's more than dangerous. It's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this. What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor. Like looking into the ocean at night, in the dark. You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined. Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets and the electric light. It smells like autumn, too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
In the belly of an airship, behind the stair windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it. No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold. Yes. They say there is a point, one that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south? It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark. And the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from. No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance, when I was a child. A child rowing on the lake. Hosianna.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. The window stands broke. You see some lights. You see some light. The fan stands still. The switch must be broken. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are right now. Ah, that soap scum smell. It smells like life, at least compared to you. The bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons. The water is only lukewarm, but still comforting. Like amniotic fluid, a few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks, like sad duckies. You feel nice and lonely, and so tired. Now you are alone with your thoughts in the tub. But it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside the tub. They're not even really thoughts, just assorted sensations, none of them acute enough to focus on. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. What are you doing? You're not some fat fish in a fucking aquarium. Time to get moving. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one bath to get rid of that stench. Then, houses along a narrow street. A video rental. Darkness on the planet's curvature. The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist skin. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not... The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in.
Here we are again, my broken bud. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating, brother man. It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
And there's a lot of it, ever present in your organs. It's like every one of them has their own nasty song to sing. Every cell in your body is moaning in agony, asking, what did we ever do to you?
Now, you're finally thinking about something other than yourself. Let's see how far that'll get you.
There's no dignity here. Only reflections of your body mass. Flashes of the day. You keep coming back to yourself in the mirror. But why? To admire all your accomplishments? You're just stuck here. In the half-world. Could try looking at other people. Really looking. But why would you want to start doing that?
Oh, baby boy, you're already in the other place. There's no nourishment for you tonight. Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe if you took a lot of drugs before you go to sleep, That'd do the trick. Maybe if you weren't so hard on yourself.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes, guess what's yours? Yes, sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here. Oh, you know, Apocalypse, Superstellar, the advanced interesting cop, liquid shadow cop. But you're too sorry to say those things. So, here we go? Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this, like info. Or maybe every time you say you're sorry, you get $1 million. That won't happen. The bed is still cold. This medicine cabinet is stocked with drugs. This window